Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. My name is Benedicta. For those of you new here, welcome to my channel. Today, I am going to be releasing or sharing a word for the month of June that the Lord has given to me, and I hope in advance that it blesses you. This is a good time to go ahead and like this video, share this video, and most importantly, subscribe and hit the notification bell. But with that being said, let's go ahead and just get right into it. Every month, I spend time seeking the Lord for what is to come in the next month. What is the word of the next month? Sometimes you'll hear people say that, they get a word for the year. You'll see many churches release, this is our year of, right? And so every month I use a similar strategy to align myself to what is the move of God in that season. Now, heaven's calendar does not work by our calendar means at all, but at different times and seasons, or seasons and times, the Lord is always up to something. And as believers, it is beneficial for us to know what that is so that we can align ourselves not only spiritually but physically. So in seeking the face of the Lord concerning the month of June, he gave me this dream. And in this dream, we are just finishing up a graduation ceremony. In fact, I knew it to be my graduation ceremony. And as the graduation ceremony is coming to an end, we've gotten our cap gown. I think I had, the hoods and the tassels and things like that on my graduation gown, but we're doing that final procession. And so basically coming out of the auditorium that we were in. And while there were many people, there to celebrate and support that I knew in that season, there were many people that kept coming up to me, asking if I remembered them. And initially my response was kind of like this awkward, sheepish, like, no, I don't actually, like, help me remember you. Like, what's your name? Where do I know you from? Mind you, I don't have all that time because we're literally in the line proceeding out of the building, still formally closing the official ceremony. And after a while, there was a handful of people that were doing this, back to back to back amongst many other people that I knew. But towards the end of this dream, there was a few people, two specifically, that actually spent time thoroughly rejogging my memory of who they were and what relationship they had to me in the past. And they were saying things, like, I remember when you just started. I remember when you started having interest in X, Y, and Z. I remember when you were this small. I remember when you were only doing this. I remember. And they were literally taking me back into this place of literally my genesis, literally where I had started. And what was crazy to me is that everybody was there. It wasn't just people trying to bring me back to the past. And it wasn't like they were saying it in a demeaning way by any means. It was almost like a shock and an awe, like, hey, do you remember when you were just here? Like, do you remember when you were this small? Do you remember when you just started? Do you remember when I was helping you with X, Y, and Z? What the Lord revealed to me from this dream about the month of June is that very clearly June would be a month of promotion. June would be a month of graduation, celebration, and promotion for many of us. But as we know, there are things that come many times in conditions, and I'll get into that in a second. But this promotion will not be your ordinary promotion. This promotion is going to look like people who have been hiding in the back being sent to the forefront, who have been silent and kind of just doing their thing in the background, that God now highlighting and shining his light on, or even blowing his breath on the work that they have been doing diligently and faithfully. This would also be a 360 promotion. This will not be a promotion that only affects you spiritually. This will be a promotion that settles you but promotes you spiritually, physically, mentally, in your career, in your finances. This would be a 360 promotion. I had gone so far forward that where I came from, and this is not like you got too good and forgot, where you started and where you came from. No, this is not one of those things. This was, I have moved up forward. I have moved up so far that the surroundings from before, the people that I used to be around before, the level that I was at before, the stress that I was at before, the frustration of the level that I was at before, that place had become such a small piece of my mind that it took someone to like re-jog my memory, bringing back up, where I had started, because it was such a drastic difference of where I had started to where I had now been by the end of this graduation ceremony, and the new people and the surroundings that I had been around. And so many of you will see that in this season of promotion, your surroundings will begin to look different, not only in people physically, but in opportunities, or even spiritually, and new capacities and new graces that the Lord will give unto you. So I began to ask the Holy Spirit, who are those that will qualify for the promotion? Like, who is getting promoted? And the Holy Spirit said to me, those that can withstand the pressure. And the first thing that actually came to my mind was this like famous quote, no pressure, no diamond, right? And if you think about how diamonds are formed, it actually takes a lot of pressure. It's almost like pressure cooker type of pressure. But the Bible actually tells us something really encouraging, or something that we may not see as encouraging, but it's a good indication that we're on the right track. In the book of John, I believe chapter 15, and I'm just paraphrasing, but branches that don't bear fruit, he actually cuts off completely. But there's branches that are bearing fruit that he actually prunes and cuts and trims and makes sure that they're in a capacity or in a place where they are now capable of bearing more fruit. And so for him to actually decide to prune that branch or now trim that branch, you had to be in the right direction, meaning that you were already bearing fruit. He just wants you to be more fruitful. The Bible also reminds us in the book of Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 that you should not get weary in doing well doing, because just at that appointed time is when your harvest will come. But if you give up a second before that appointed time, you lose that entire harvest. In his mercy, I'm sure the Lord still blesses your obedience and your diligence and your faithfulness, right? But there's a harvest that you will reap at that appointed time if you do not give up. And so I want to encourage us this month that as the Lord is continuing to process us, and I actually want that to feel encouraging, right? The Lord so much so wants to make us his showpiece, wants us to be like crowns of glory in his hands that he can show off to the world that, these are my sons and my daughters that I'm choosing to elevate in this season. You don't want anyone to look at your promotion and be like, where did that come from? Like, why did that happen? And almost be looking at your life as a reflection of God. You want, as I hope that many of us, when we do our work, we put out our best work. God works the same way. God is not a God of mediocrity. If he is going to put out something, know that it is his best, but also know that he wants his best for you, even if that means enduring more pain, going through more processing, and the pressure is getting higher and higher until a point where you literally feel like you're about to explode. Know that when you get to that point, you're likely at that due season. Let us not forget that the enemy is strategic, right? And so there will be a lot of unnecessary pressures that will come and distract us from what is actually the processing of the Lord and the Holy Spirit. The enemy will now come with his own pressures to distract you, to make you feel like you're going through more than you really are. But I want to encourage us to endure through this time of processing, through this time of trial, through this time of pressure. As we know that he is processing us and applying pressure, he's also trying to produce a diamond out of us that will be his showcase or showpiece to the world. So I hope that encourages you, and congratulations in advance. God bless you all. Until next time.